So now that we have so many drones on the market, I mean, we have the Mini 4 Pro, we have the Air 3, the Air 3S, the DJI Neo, we have the Mini 4K, we have the Mini 3, and even the Mini 3 Pro, which seems to be discontinued, but it's still an amazing drone if you can get hold of it. Is the Mini 4 Pro still worth buying over any of these other drones if you're looking to buy your first drone? So in today's video, I want to share my long-term honest opinion about the Mini 4 Pro, which I've been using for more than a year now, and hopefully by the end of this video you'll have a good idea of whether or not to buy the Mini 4 Pro or if you should just wait for something else. So first, let's dig into why this is my most used drone over the past year and why it's so easy for me to recommend this drone and why this drone will last you for years. Even though I mainly use the DJI Neo as my main drone ever since it was released, if I need something of higher caliber, the Mini 4 Pro is always my go-to drone despite owning the Air 3S and Mavic 3 Classic, because the Mini 4 Pro is a sub 250 gram drone, which is taking away some of those restrictions. So one of the things I really love about these smaller drones is basically the portability, meaning the low weight and the small size, which makes it extremely easy to travel with. Also, because the Mini 4 Pro is below 250 grams, there's, like I said, less restrictions to where I can fly, and I've been taking this multiple times to Hawaii and over to the Maldives, and I haven't experienced any issues whatsoever. And flying this in the Maldives, for example, which is a place that people typically go to enjoy and relax for a few days and kind of, you know, experience the luxury lifestyle that people go to the Maldives for, I had no complaints from the staff or any of the other guests when flying this, mainly because they didn't see or hear it, which is another thing that makes these mini drones the perfect travel drones in my opinion. So because they're so small and they have such low noise levels, you can barely hear it a few meters up, which makes the whole travel experience much better in my opinion. So with a bigger drone, for example, like the Air 3S, you will have a higher pitch sound, which could mean that people will get annoyed if you're flying at the beach or in urban environments, and we all know these Karens, which is constantly on a mission to interrupt every single drone pilot out there. However, there is other drones which has the same low noise level as the Mini 4 Pro, like the Mini 3 and the Mini 3 Pro, or even the Mini 4K, which has similar sound levels. The Neo, on the other hand, even if it's a smaller drone than all of these other drones, weighing only 135 grams, it has a higher pitch sound, which screams a bit more than these other guys. So if you're all about stealth flying, the mini drones would probably be the best option. Just listen to this comparison here between 3 different drones when doing a follow shot in the forest. So this is one of the reasons not only me, but a lot of people like the mini series. And let's say you're a brand new drone pilot and maybe you're a bit insecure about where to fly and how to fly. The last thing you want as a drone pilot is to have annoying people coming up to you asking questions about this and that. And that's something you won't have with a mini drone because it's so silent. So with the Mini 4 Pro, for example, there's a much lower risk of that happening because there's a less chance that people will actually hear it and definitely see it because it kind of blends in with the sky. Another reason I think the Mini 4 Pro is here to stay is even though it eventually will get discontinued and not receive any new firmware updates like we see with the Mini 3 Pro, it's still going to be one of the best semi-professional drones on the market with every single feature you could possibly need to create amazing content, whether this is for social media or just for friends and family. And unlike these bigger drones like the Air 3S, for example, the Mini 4 Pro Pro is the only drone with its specs that can physically rotate the camera and capture true vertical videos in 4K up to 100 FPS at the time of making this video, both in normal HLG and the Longterm 10-bit, which is fantastic. This also means that there's no need to crop or adjust the image in post later if you just want to capture and publish some high quality reels straight out of the camera in HDR. Also, not to forget about the safety system that we have on the Mini 4 Pro, which is the only mini drone with a full 360-degree obstacle avoidance system, which keeps the drone from bumping into obstacles, which would otherwise, damage your drone depending on how hard you crash and where you fly. And it's the slightest bump into a tree flying over a stream or something that could cause your drone to be destroyed. It's just one bump and it will flip over, land in the water, and your drone is dead. So to have that full coverage on the Mini 4 Pro is just amazing, and it's actually saved me a couple of times when flying in the forest in Hawaii, which I couldn't appreciate these sensors more, which is another reason I think the Mini 4 Pro is here to stay and something that is going to be hard to replace. Even with a Mini 5 Pro, I've seen some images, Mini 5 Pro with something new. I don't think that will necessarily replace the Mini 4 Pro. Even if it's brand new, it has some new stuff and things, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be better for me or better for you. Now, when it comes to battery life, this is something I touch on every single drone video I make. I've been getting about 24 to 25 minutes on average, which I would say is enough if you have at least 2 or 3 batteries. But it also depends on how and where you fly, and if there's a lot of wind and how far you fly, basically. These are all factors that plays a huge part in how much battery life you'll end up getting from each battery. And it's not only the Mini 4 Pro, but basically every single drone that you might fly. So if you can, I would always recommend to get as close to the area you want to film as possible, which will not only make the flight safer, but you will also get more out of it because the batteries will last longer as the travel distance back to the home point is going to be shorter. Now, unlike the DJI Neo here, the Mini 4 Pro does require a dedicated remote controller in order to fly. And the one I've been using is the DJI RC2 controller here, which is hands down the best controller DJI has ever made if you consider what you get for the price you pay. Luckily, this is included with the Mini 4 Pro if you decide to get the Fly More combo, which is also what I recommend because you will get 2 extra batteries, a charging hub, a shoulder bag, extra propellers, and of course the RC2 remote controller here, which will last you a very long time because it runs off of OcuSync 4.0, which is the same as the Mini 4 Pro, which means that if you want to get the Neo eventually, for example, or just as a separate travel drone, this also runs off of OcuSync 4.0, so you can use the same controller with the Mini 4 Pro and the DJI Neo, which is fantastic if you want to upgrade or downgrade, depending on how you look at it. Now, let's say there is a new drone coming which have a slightly better camera, maybe a new feature or two, maybe lighter sensors, which we saw with the Air 3S. It doesn't necessarily mean that this drone is gonna be better for you. So if we go back to the features of the Mini 4 Pro, for example, this has waypoints, cruise control, 360 degrees avoidance sensors, active track 360, we have spotlight, point of interest, we have 48 megapixel photos, we also have panorama, we have quick shots, we have master shots, we have time lapse, we have 4K 60 HDR, we have 4K 100 FPS slow motion. We have all of these things in a true vertical shooting mode. We also have D-Log-M 10-bit for color grading. We have quick transfer and all the built-in tutorials you will ever need inside the RC remote controller. So in my opinion, there's only 2 drones as of this video there's worth getting if you ask me, especially for a new drone pilot. Either you go flat out, you just get the best of the best, which is the Mini 4 Pro that has everything you need and more, and will keep you from upgrading your drone the next 5 years. The footage it captures now is still going to be the same 5 years from now. Or you can go with the DJI Neo if you don't care about the image quality that much at all and just want something simple and easy which fits in your pocket and doesn't really require a remote to fly, which is also one of the huge advantages with the DJI Neo, because you can basically just power it on, hold the button, and it will start following you or execute one of the built-in flight modes. Now, if you want to know why I think these are the best two drones you can get as of this video right now, then I recommend checking out my 2 travel videos I made with these 2 drones traveling over to Hawaii, and I'm sure that that video will help you make the right buying decision based on your needs. Now, as for the overall experience I had with the Mini 4 Pro over the past year, taking everything into consideration, new and older drones and so on, this is the absolute best bang for the buck if you need a crystal clear image. I would say the features of the Mini 4 Pro is just a bonus, except for the avoidance sensors, which is highly needed if you ask me, but I would say that the remaining features are just a bonus and not something you necessarily need to use or want to use every single flight. But when it comes to creating a compelling travel video, for example, features like waypoints, cruise control, and active track will definitely make this easier, which also means there's less effort needed in order to get the shot. But there's also a fine balance here between each of these drones, and the question will always be, and has always been, which is the better drone for me and which is the better drone for you. If you don't need or care that much about image quality, but you just want something extremely versatile, easy to use, and something you can take with you everywhere without a remote, you know, the DJI Neo will probably be the better one for you. It's a fantastic drone if you can look past the image quality, and if you have the time, you can also tweak the image in post a little bit to make it look better. And if you want the best and most versatile high-end drone which puts out amazing image quality and will still put out amazing image quality in 2030, I will say for the price, the Mini 4 Pro is the one to get. So there you have my thoughts on the Mini 4 Pro in 2025. Is it worth it? 110%. Definitely a solid drone that will last you for years. And of course, there will be new drones that will have better specs than this one, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it will be a better buy for you if the price is higher. Now, make sure to check out the videos down below as well with each of these drones, and also hit that subscribe and like button, and also turn on notifications so you don't miss the upcoming videos. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.